So I'm going to preface this question by saying that I'm a big fan. Okay. I'm a big fan of yours, what you're
Okay.
doing, the show. But there's two things that put me off a little. And I actually made a little video about this um, with one of my Parsha things. And I want to just hear how you would respond. So one was the production. It seemed to give over a little sort of Miami Vice, quick clips of a bikini on a beach, slick sports car, and and also some of the couples that were presented just seemed so superficial and vacuous. And now I imagine both the production and the presentation of those couples are there to develop a broader appeal for the show, to show like Jewish matchmaking, Jews are just like anyone else. And we also want to have fun and blah, blah, blah. But are you concerned at all that it may represent the Jewish community as materialistic, and we have that reputation already a little, money, 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 and superficial, like the couples itself, like, you know, um, I mean, they're lovely people, they're normal, regular people, but it just, to me, when I watched a couple episodes, I kind of felt like um, they just seemed very superficial. That's all. I'm curious your thoughts on that, on those two things.
Right. If they could have made the whole show and not had the bikini scenes in, which to be honest, it was a quick flash before a couple of clips and it had nothing except like you could have shown a beach and you could have shown, just a big ocean picture, right? There are a lot of things that could have been done. But I think that if we're being real with who we are as the Jewish people and we look at the variety of who we are, that relates to part of us and that relates to doesn't relate to others, and there is a wide range of Jewish people within the world, and we are a combination of body and soul, and I think that we as the Jewish people struggle with that just like anybody in the world, right? I'm in the world, I'm of the world. No, I'm a spiritual being. I have something so much more to me than this physicality that exists in this world, and we are constantly bringing ourselves into check and into balance. And this show really showed both sides. So you weren't getting a glorified, everything is fine, and oh, we're spiritual beings only. And we weren't getting a physical only in this world kind of thing. There was somehow, I think, a balance of what was shown. And what do I wish there would have been less? I don't think it was necessary. And I don't think, also, if you look at the parent show, this comes off of the heels of Indian Matchmaking, which is the brand. Wasn't really done on Indian Matchmaking. Why did it have to be done here, right? So you could say, oh well, it was filmed in LA and Miami and Tel Aviv, and okay, so cities with beaches. Okay, there's lots of things that you can show on the beach that don't exist like that. There was a conscious choice to do that. So I think that there is this, again, body and soul, and this push and pull and this enticement into this world, and at the same time, and the physicality of this world, and at the same time, well, wait a minute, what are the values? What do you want? And I think you constantly see that in the show. I bring in, the values and the balance of internal and external, and
Mhm.
we have people that are living in the world that are very external focused. And to me, I will say this over and over again, when people get divorced, they don't go, you know what? I'm done. You're ugly. I don't want to look at you anymore, right? If they're saying you're ugly, they're actually talking about the inside. You don't treat me well. You're not speaking kindly. I don't like what's happening here. This doesn't feel good to me. That's really what they're saying. And the physical part of who we are, yes, I have to wake up and I have to be okay to look at my partner every day. But if my partner doesn't treat me well, I don't care how good looking they are. They will become ugly to me in, I want to say,
Right.
almost
No,
no.
so that's a very beautiful Jewish teaching. I'm just wondering why, I don't know, maybe I'm off. Like I've been dealing with singles for 25 years. And most of them are not religiously observant, the ones who come to Manhattan Jewish Experience. Mostly from conservative reform, unaffiliated, less
Yeah.
affiliated. But I feel like they're just more, I wouldn't say brilliant intellectuals, but they're just a little more substantive types, not necessarily so spiritual and looking for values all the time, but I don't know, it just seemed as though there was a propensity on the show to show um, either better looking but not as substantive individuals. And I wonder if that was like on purpose, whether maybe somebody
I don't know.
else.
I'm not on the production end of things. There was a Jewish religious producer that was there to, help with the content. Ronit Polan was brought in, but in
Hmm.
terms of the vibe and the feel, I do think that was ultimately in the hands of Netflix, and that was via the production company to match the expectations of what they
I
were
mean,
looking.
are you at liberty to say, like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you're not, like, would you have preferred to, and by the way, I don't, chas v'shalom, God forbid, want to say anything negative about all the lovely couples you brought on. But if you had said, I want to bring people on that give more of a vibe of substance and
I
less
wanted
materialism. It's
so
it's
what I
not it's not about spiritual, not spiritual. It just seemed very surface.
Right. So I really wanted people that were marriage minded. Okay. Marriage minded
Hmm.
to me means if I find my person with the next 6 months to a year, I'll know
Hmm.
it and I'll do something about it. Secular, religious, I don't care what background you come from. You meet your person and you're like, whoa, you're not waiting longer than a year to do something about that. And really, there were a lot of young singles that were brought in, and everybody had a pretty long timeline. It was like, oh, okay, in four
Right.
years. And I'm like,
Right.
you want a marriage? I can't make a marriage happen in 7 months if your timeline is 4 years. So I think the types of people that they chose were youthful, were still figuring a lot of things out. Not all of them, clearly. But just for example, somebody like Faye and Shia, the observant
Hmm.
couple that was on the
Hmm.
show, right? We're talking about values. We got into the depth of like what really works for them, what they really want, and what they really need, as opposed to talking about the physical character traits a majority of the time. So for me, I want to know what somebody physically wants. Do I want to spend 75% of my time talking about physical looks? Not really, because it's completely irrelevant. Of course, we'll get you what you want. That's on the outside. Fine, fine, fine. What's on the inside? What do you want?
Hmm.
And I worked really hard to ask that question, and you see it over and
Yeah.
over again. But what
Yeah.
do you want? But what do you want? But what do you want? And I wasn't getting answers that were robust. And that for me would have been a very coachable moment where I would have said, hey, let's put this matchmaking thing on pause for a minute. We've got to work on values. If you're not clear on the inside what you're looking for, I don't care what she physically looks like. It's never going to work because we won't know if the values align. Okay, your eyes will be happy, but the rest of you won't even know what it wants. And we have to figure that piece out. And so
Hmm.
I did dig into that with people. That's where we got a little into like Sephardi and Ashkenazi and customs and what our families do and what that means. And do you accept me for who I am? That started to get into some real issues.
Hmm.
And I really valued things like that. And then for some people, it was just a base level of, wow, I've never even dated somebody Jewish. I haven't thought of Jewish values. I was just making a decision to date somebody Jewish over somebody that wasn't Jewish. This is the first time I'm experiencing that. So I think that we got a wide range of people on the show who had a wide range of backgrounds. And for me, right, yes, physical looks, we're going to get you, but values, what do you want? What do you want? What's on the list? What's on the list? You can only
Hmm.
work as much or as hard as the material that
Yeah.
you have is what you have to work with.